I think I was born into homelessness. My dad was always changing his career fields, so we would always go wherever the money was.
Probably for 3 years off and on, we were homeless on the streets. Mostly we stayed in downtown because they had the admissions and everything that we're trying to get into, and they also had these little churches that we go to eat.
My mom got kicked out from JKC, so they had nowhere to stay. And my brother and my mom, my sister Monica, and my little sister Janina, they were staying in a car.
I lived in a lot of different places. Underneath bridges, in parks, shelters, cars. You have to learn to be really alert because you're like in just anywhere, like when you're in the park and you're just sleeping or whatever, like it's really awkward. People are just walking around and you're like sleeping.
When you're in like a little space and you're staying the night with like 4 or 5 kids in a car, it's not that fun because like you can hear them breathe.
When there's nothing else to do, you can only remember the things that make you laugh. When you're in bad situations, it's hard to find times to laugh because most of the time you have to be serious about where am I going to stay, where am I going to sleep, what am I going to eat.
We've all heard of urban legends. Legends are stories about many things, like places, ghosts, and monsters. A legend is a type of folklore, a traditional story told by a folk group, a group of people with something in common. Our group is homeless teens. Homelessness brings a lot of images to mind, but we want our stories to be told in our own words.
When I was really little, we were living on the streets in downtown, and that was my whole family, except for like my little brothers. They weren't born yet. And it was my mom and dad, and we were living on the streets, and we used to sleep inside this parking lot with a whole bunch of other homeless people. And we used to get these sandwiches from these people that would donate them, and someone kept on going around and stealing everybody's sandwiches, but no one knew who it was. And so my dad decided to put roaches inside the sandwiches so that we can find out who did it. And one morning we woke up and we didn't have our sandwiches no more. And that's the night that my dad put the roaches inside the sandwiches, and then the person was eating the sandwich and he started screaming and yelling, talking about, there's roaches and everything. And my dad went over there and he beat him up.
Urban legends are told as if they were true stories. Sometimes they are true and sometimes they are not. Usually, they are somewhere in between. People go through a lot when they are homeless, like stress, family problems, money problems, and depression. They also find encouragement, love, comfort, and hope. These stories can be dramatic, sad, touching, funny, or totally unbelievable.
I remember like sleeping in like this one shelter that I stayed at. They were like rat infested, big rats. There was this one that they could never kill ever. His name was Big Ben. There was a cat that was like always around. It wasn't like anybody's cat or anything. It was just always around there. Ben was bigger than the cat, and the cat was a pretty fat cat. Ben was about the size of an 8-month-old baby. It was a big ass rat, I swear. His tail was like a foot long, I think. And it just like disappeared, and we found the cat and Big Ben dead underneath a table with like a cloth over it. They had like killed each other. It was sad.
Storytelling can be a way to establish identity. If you hear a story about being homeless and can respond with a similar story of your own experience, it proves that you are part of that particular group. Storytelling can also be a way to reinforce identity. It is safe to tell homeless stories among other homeless people because they understand where you're coming from. It might not be as comfortable to tell homeless stories to people who are not homeless because they might judge you or make fun of you.
So there's times where I lied to my friends saying I lived at Point Loma, which I thought was the richest neighborhood. And then they're like, "Oh, you live at Point Loma?" Yeah, yeah. And then I would lie that I had a house and everything. And they'll believe me too, like, when could I come over and everything? Because there are people, like, there's kids I hate, that when they will say I have a pool, I have a pool too. And they're like, yeah, my pool is 3 feet. And I was telling them my pool is 5 feet. And they'll believe me too, like, oh, when could we go over and everything? I was like, nah, my mom ain't gonna like you over there.
Storytelling helps to create community. By talking to others with similar experiences, we find support and comfort in knowing that we are not alone. In spite of all the difficulties we've faced, we still have dreams and hopes, just like every other teen. We have our successes and our failures. These obstacles haven't stopped us. They've only made us stronger.
When I started going to Monarch and everything, I didn't have to lie no more because, like, there's more kids going through what I was going through. And they were like, it was like easier to connect with them, and you didn't have to lie about nothing.
So since when I was 11 to now, like when I was 14, when I moved in Tucson, I was entertained playing baseball. That was the only thing that would entertain me and make me forget about being broke and poor. So when I moved in Tucson, everything changed because I had support. I had support in tutoring, I had support in mentoring, and I started keeping track of my grades.
I'm definitely changing the ways of the past, how I was brought up. You can either follow in the footsteps of others, or you can take a complete turn and do the complete opposite, and that's what I plan to do.